Muhammad Shaki. My fellow citizens and well-wishers, I am grateful for this opportunity to be communicating with you again tonight across multiple media and platforms. It is a continuing pleasure to be able to report to you and interact with you, the citizens and residents at home and in the diaspora. I thank you for joining us and encourage you to also participate in the discussion with your questions, comments, and concerns. I deem it my sacred duty as National Leader and Prime Minister to take time to listen to you and to respond directly to your questions and concerns. This is a feature of our good governance agenda. Leadership Matters is another medium through which citizens and residents get the opportunity to engage the office of the Prime Minister. I consider it a privilege to facilitate this activity. It is important for us to continue our ongoing discussions on the way forward, living and ultimately thriving in this challenging COVID-19 era. We are well aware that the COVID-19 pandemic has had adverse impacts on lives and livelihoods across the world. As a responsible government, we have sought to mitigate these negative impacts in St. Kitts and Nevis. My government has always insisted on a life-first strategy and has been guided throughout this pandemic by the advice of our health professionals and our National Task Force, who continue to give yeoman service to our country. Last Saturday evening, I outlined some elements of the new SRNO number 30 of 2021 being implemented by my government in our continuing battle with the COVID-19 virus. These are the rules that will govern our work and movements until July 26, 2021. Among these are the lifting of the 24-hour lockdown and imposition of a 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. curfew. We are moving in a phased manner, given the changing nature of the virus. Lockdown is, of course, a critical tool in the fight against COVID-19. We have seen them employ in the BVI, Barbados, the United Kingdom, and Australia, to name a few countries. A return to work for government workers, private sector businesses opening fully, subject, of course, to nightly curfew and established COVID-19 protocols. AH buses allowed a maximum of 10 passengers, a resumption of inter-island travel, and our vendors allowed to ply their trade in the public market free of cost. During these initial 2 weeks, there will be continuous monitoring and assessment of the situation on the ground. You would appreciate that coming out of a 24-hour lockdown, this represents significant ease of the restrictions and the reopening of business and commerce. This must not be viewed as if we are out of the danger zone. Indeed, increasingly it appears that COVID-19 will be with us for some time. We have to take measures and begin practices that will best allow us to live with COVID-19. Never drop your guard when it comes to protecting yourself and your loved ones from the coronavirus disease. It is dangerous and it is deadly. You may ask, how do we best cope with these conditions? How do we safely reopen and get our people safely back to work, earning incomes and being able to realize the best quality of life desired? An effective strategy to survive in the midst of COVID-19 embodies the following components. 1. Widespread vaccination against this deadly virus. We work very hard to secure additional vaccines, which are very critical for your protection from COVID-19. Please get your vaccine as soon as possible. Encourage everyone you know to become vaccinated. The higher the vaccination rate in our communities, the better for us all, as the communities would have higher and stronger protection. 2. Strict observance of and adherence to established COVID-19 protocols. That is, wearing masks properly outside of your place of residence, social and physical distancing, frequent washing or sanitizing of your hands and high-touch areas. These reduce the probability of infection and transmission of the disease. Thirdly, discovering new and innovative ways that would allow for the completion of our tasks while at the same time reducing risk of transmission of the virus. Fourthly, avoid crowds as much as you can. Crowded events can exacerbate the spread of the virus. Of course, such risks are minimized when persons are vaccinated and adhere to the protocols. Finally, a renewed and enhanced sense of personal responsibility for your life and livelihood should motivate you to do the right thing and vaccinate. A renewed and enhanced sense of personal responsibility will help us to make the best possible decisions for our families, our communities, and our country as a whole. More than ever before, the decisions of every person have the propensity to affect a large number of people. Therefore, personal responsibility is a significant factor in this fight. Let us not think only of ourselves, but let us think of others. Let us think of how our actions may affect others, especially the most vulnerable. Let us do what is necessary to provide the best protection to ourselves, our families, our communities, and our beloved country. These are the measures that we as individual citizens and residents must utilize to protect ourselves. Ultimately, these are the things that will keep us safe and keep the virus at bay. We must resolve to do these things consistently. The reality is that no government, no matter how well-staffed, well-equipped, or well-financed, can by itself fully protect us from the virus. It must be a real partnership. We, the citizens and residents, along with our government, have to continue demonstrating that sense of shared responsibility about which I often speak, and that we have exhibited in the past. My government is doing its part, but we need every citizen and resident to do his or her part in this continuing all of society approach. As part and parcel of our commitment to the all of society approach between the government and the people, my administration announced on Thursday, July 8th, an unmatched and unprecedented second economic stimulus, primarily geared at augmenting support for small businesses and the most economically vulnerable amongst us. Elements of the package include the implementation of another income support program, this time to the tune of $15 million to citizens who are unemployed and have not worked from March 2020. Our financial secretary is here tonight, and I'm sure she will advise how this will operate and how you can apply. Application forms will be available from later this week, and we will begin processing application forms next week with a view to payout starting in the last week of July. A maximum monthly stipend of $1,000 for 3 months will be paid to qualifying applicants. Small businesses which are renting from the government will receive a waiver for the next 6 months. That is, for the rest of the year, no rent will be paid to the government. We ask private sector landlords to give some relief to their tenants, but we have done much more. Additionally, in order to help those persons who are renting from private landlords, in order to provide them some ease, we have determined that the government will offer a reduction of the VAT rate from 10% to 5% for these businesses utilizing private commercial space. Our bus operators receive strong support from my government, having reinstated the annual import duty exemption for 16 tires, 4 pairs of brake pads, and 3 pairs of brake shoes over a 6-month period for these passenger bus operators. We went further. A fuel subsidy of $400 monthly will be paid to passenger bus operators for the next 3 months. For the next 6 months, stall fees are waived for vendors at our public market. Reduced travel tax for the next 6 months to boost intra-regional travel. The increase in travel will mean increased business for our taxi operators among other service providers. We will continue to capitalize the Severance Fund. In this regard, I am happy to report that the federal government has paid out $37.9 million to 2,443 claimants. This is the largest payout in the history of the fund. Battered women will receive support through the Ministry of Social Development. For families with persons with disabilities, my government will provide some support to them for the next 6 months. The foregoing set of measures represents an excellent testament to my government's continuing belief and commitment that we are all in this together, and that no one, I repeat, no one, will be left behind in our fight against this pandemic. Indeed, we are all in this together. This second stimulus package also forms part of our strategy for a full reopening of our economy in a gradual and safe manner. The increased economic activity will provide a good boost to retail and wholesale sectors, among several others. As we move towards the full reopening of our economy for business and travel, we must always be conscious of the threat and presence of COVID-19. We cannot drop our guard. We must all continually do our part. The stimulus, the easing of restrictions, and the established COVID-19 protocols are testament to your government's doing its part. It is for the institutions and businesses, large and small, to adopt and ensure that these protocols are continually and correctly complied with at their places of business. It is important for our citizens and residents to abide by these protocols. This is the tripartite effort, moving together to a common goal that will get us soonest to a new state of normalcy. We hold our destiny in our hands. Let us choose to move forward to the stronger and safer future with flourishing businesses, our people hard at work, providing for their welfare and saving for the rainy day. The next 14 days will speak eloquently to our seriousness as a people, our discipline, and our commitment to work diligently to ensure a better and stronger future. A phased reopening is our best way to protect ourselves by giving ourselves time and space to earnestly begin perfecting the practices and habits we need in order to be able to safely live with COVID-19. It also gives us more time to further solidify our successful vaccination rollout. Vaccination is the best way. I repeat, it is the best way to protect yourself from any eventuality. It is the most powerful tool in our arsenal against COVID-19 and its variants. We must see and seize opportunities that this pandemic has created. We must discover new and innovative ways that would allow us complete routine tasks while at the same time reducing the risk of transmission of the virus. If we are able to see and seize these opportunities as individuals, communities, and as a country, we would be much better placed to thrive during this period. So let us move forward with a rebirth of oneness, unity, discipline, industry, and an abiding sense of patriotism. Finally, it is my pleasure to welcome and to thank our panelists tonight, Mrs. Hilary Hazel, our Financial Secretary, who spent quite a bit of time leading the Ministry of Finance in collaboration with other ministries in crafting our second stimulus package. Dr. Hazel Laws, our Chief Medical Officer, who from the very beginning up to the present moment has made tremendous sacrifice in service to this, our beloved nation. We thank her for her support so far. Mr. Cromwell Henry, Superintendent of Police, has been doing an excellent job at the NEAC briefings and in his role in assisting us in maintaining the COVID-19 protocols. I know all of these leaders are a fount of knowledge, and they are all committed to development of my beautiful country. May God bless them, and may He bless all of us. May He keep St. Kitts and Nevis safe and prosperous. I thank you again for tuning in tonight.